Hi everyone, welcome to the GoldFish Report. I am your host Louisa, and this is Wednesday, April 17th, 2019. This is our GoldFish Report number 352, and we are talking about the President's news releases, I call this press briefs. We have not reported as often as we wanted over the past week. It's been a very difficult week here for me personally and at the GoldFish Report. So all the press releases are posted on the blog and on the Facebook news page. So I'm not going to go over all of them here now, but because we're behind definitely in terms of reporting them on video. But hopefully it won't happen again. I want to just point out a few things that's really important tonight in the news, okay? First thing we have going on is tomorrow is the day. It's only really hours away, maybe 12, maybe 18 hours away, that we have the Mueller report released. So according to John Roberts at Fox, and I worked with him at the White House, it's so nice to, follow him on Twitter because he's got the updates that we're going to need. So tomorrow at 9:30 is going to be the press briefing for the Mueller report. This is going to be by Attorney General Barr and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, so it's going to be interesting. There will be a version released to the public that won't be until about noon, and when it is, we will have it on the GoldFish Report Facebook news page. We're also going to tweet that link as well and post it on our blog as well. So definitely take a look at that. And it's not a coincidence, folks, that we had that Notre Dame fire this week. And we also had, well, what's the news today? The news came out that someone was reporting that North Korea tested another long-range nuclear missile. But I can tell you that the United States Northern Command and Strategic Command state that no missile launch was detected, so that our systems did not detect a missile launch. So whether this is, fake news, I don't know. But again, I think we have to keep in mind that there was a deep state element controlling North Korea. And I'm not surprised if they're, still have some kind of impact there, or if it's the deep state located in New Zealand, which may just totally hijack that country, with these new with these gun laws based on the fake New Zealand shooting, but which was very fake. I mean, you really have to be an imbecile not to see that that's a fake story. Okay, so anyway, but there's going to be people who just believe everything the mainstream media says no matter what, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the truth. So we're going to go right into these press briefings. I'm going to screen share. Okay, I'm going to screen share the blog. Sorry about that. What we're going to do is I'm going to start on Monday. I did talk about some of this in the POTUS report with Dr. Jim Fetzer. So here is where you can locate this on our blog. Okay, the blog here's the goldfishreport.blogspot.com. So this is where it is, and this is where we talked about, look, we outlined, it was tax day, we outlined all the historic tax cuts and economic reinvestment in America, which included record low unemployment numbers, 38 stock market records, low tax rate across the board, doubled the standard deductions, doubled the child tax credits, and over 6 million new jobs, according to the White House. Jim reports on the new re-election of Benjamin Netanyahu, and of course the Julian Assange arrest, and lots of other things that were in the news. So definitely, if you want to see the GoldFish report, you can just scroll down, and there's two links. There's our YouTube link and our BitChute link. Okay, so please go to the blog to view these, or the website. But if you go to the blog, you can get both of the links here. Because it's not listed on YouTube. It's an unlisted video, or they will delete us if we make it public. Okay, so just for today, I'm going to say for yesterday, I'm going to go down to the bottom here. We are talking about these, as I was saying, these historic tax cuts. And one of the things that the president's going to be talking about, I'm going to talk about in a news release here, has to do with reinvestment in economic underserved communities. So that's a really important thing to do. Here they're talking about the lending a helping hand to middle income families, tax cuts. You could go to the blog and check out all this. I'm not going to read it and go over it. You can please go to the blog, and you can scroll to all of the presidents and the first ladies' press releases that are published here, talking about business being a big boom again. And of course, we're going to get to these forgotten communities. This is what the president had a news conference about yesterday. The opportunity zones, he calls it, to bring investment and opportunities to underprivileged communities. They call them opportunity zones. There's incentives given there for people to come and reinvest in these communities. So this is a really great big thing happening. And there really is a big economic boom going on in the country. There's going to be some other economic great things happening, I think. So we just have to stand by and watch for that, okay? Here we have a proclamation by the president talking about Education and Sharing Day. They're talking basically about supporting higher education and opportunities for higher education, and growth, social growth, and society growth, of individuals. And so this was also something you could take a look at. We're talking, he was honoring this spiritual leaders' legacy here, so they can, it was a nice ceremony that they had. You can go to the blog and check that out. West Wing Reads talks about the tax cuts that keep on giving. And of course, there was the president talking at that roundtable, that economic roundtable in Minnesota, where he was talking about the New York Times actually getting a story correct on the taxes. So that was on the tax news. So that was a big deal for the president to talk about. But you can take a look at all of this. They're talking about other issues here as well in West Wing Reads. So it's not just about the tax cuts. It's also about, we have Ivanka Trump in Africa promoting female economic development. So here, trying to really kind of promote economic development, especially for women. And today they were talking about, there was a report about, amazingly, a greater role for women in the Taliban. And so I think they're finally starting to look to respect, or at least share the stage with women. We'll see. We're still not quite, we still haven't broken that glass ceiling completely. Okay, so here we have the president with an emergency declaration, but I didn't want to get to that one yet. Okay, there's a press statement here by the president on the fire at the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. So you can come here and read this. Now, I also wanted to, I'm not going to screen share it, but I am going to read the, there is this, the press pool did report that the president had a conference call with the Pope. And I'll just read it. Okay, today President Donald Trump spoke with His Holiness Pope Francis. The president offered his condolences for the destruction of Notre Dame Cathedral, one of Europe's most important religious structures. President Trump also praised the cathedral's amazing beauty and great symbolism, offering America's assistance with the rebuilding effort. The president and the Pope also discussed alleviating the suffering of the Venezuelan people and leading the country to a democratic transition. Let me also just, make a comment here that, I did read reports that these millionaires were contributing funds, and I think they had raised over $700 million or 500 million euros to rebuild the cathedral. Hold on a second. I think the homeless are a little bit more important. I think it's more important to build, they're not allowed to go in there and sleep, are they? I mean, can these people contribute to build homes for the homeless? Folks, we just have our values ass backwards. I can tell you, people don't just start doing the right thing, we're all going to go to hell. I can tell you that much right now. What I mean by that is, society's going to fall apart. We've got to step up and do the right thing, and we got to stop this, fantasy world everybody's living in. All right, I said my thing. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing so we can continue with this. This just seems so backwards. Okay, so that's that, and that was the code. And of course, there's a bill announcement yesterday. The president signed into law the HR 2030, the Colorado River Drought Contingency Plan Authorization Act, okay, which directs the Secretary of Interior to execute and carry out agreements concerning the Colorado River Drought Contingency Management Operations. And S725, which changes the address of the postal facility designated in honor of Captain Humayun Khan. Okay, so I don't know if I pronounced that. Humayun, yeah, Humayun Khan. I think that's how it's pronounced. Okay, here we have a 1600 daily report here talking about, well, the First Lady, we did talk about this on Monday. Sorry, my headphones are in the way. The First Lady and the Second Lady of the United States, they were at the Armed Forces. They were at Fort Bragg, I believe it was, honoring the families, North Carolina, honoring the families of the United States Armed Forces there. So it was very nice. You could go here, read about this, and there's also some pictures for photos of the week that you can see. By the way, the First Lady's birthday is on April 26th, so let's not forget to wish her a happy birthday. Okay. Now, again, the power of the pen, we have the president vetoing. This is a letter he has to send to the Senate, and of course, this is also published in the Federal Register, but this is a letter to the Senate, and he returned the bill, Senate Joint Resolution 7, which was to, really kind of was to, remove the power that the president has for his foreign policy. So they're really trying to undermine the president's authority and his power as commander-in-chief, when it comes to where the military is stationed and where our resources are I guess, exported to other countries for whatever their missions are. So so you can go through here and read it. You can take a look at it on the blog. We have another West Wing Reads that talks about, the big spur in salaries. According to the president, the salaries for middle America for blue collar workers really grew faster than that of their white collar counterparts. So that's according to their calculations and their figures. We also have some other comments here you can talk about. There was a lot of damage in certain states regarding, well, here they're talking about immigrants, but there's going to be some emergency declarations for the storms that had come through. We know we had some serious weather problems recently, but we'll get to that. Here we have President Donald Trump is taking a stand for democracy and human rights in the Western Hemisphere. Well, I would hope so, and I think you're going to start at home, really, and work on the, the I would say abuse of power under color of law, which I guess the Mueller report's going to reveal tomorrow. So here we have the president talking about Venezuela, of course, and of course Cuba and its influence with the situation down in Venezuela. So if you're interested in that, you can come here and take a look at that. I'm not going to go into too much detail, folks. So we're trying to keep this to be a very short report just for the president's press briefs. Okay, so here we have the president talking about this opportunity zone with state, local, and tribal community leaders. This was at the Eisenhower Executive Office building right next to the White House. So you can come here and take a look at all of these. He met with all the governors of the states, and they all designated about 8,000, I think it was 7,000 economic zones that are, I think it's here, 8,700 is the total here, that all the governors in all 50 states and territories have designated 8,700 neighborhoods as opportunity zones. So it's really great to know the president's doing this. He starts out this conversation saying it's very hard to believe that we did it. Nobody thought they could do it, and they did it. And that's really how the president talks. It carries on about things. Here we have the emergency declaration disaster for Alabama. This was regarding storms, tornadoes, and flooding and damage, things like that nature. We have another one here for the state of Tennessee regarding flooding, storms, and mudslides. And I'll tell you, Tennessee has had some pretty bad. I have some family in Tennessee, and they were all involved in tornadoes, and it was a horrible situation. Everybody ended up in a different hospital in a different state, not state, but in a different county. It was just horrible. These are really serious, weather phenomena that we have to contend with. Okay, so 1600 daily. Lifting up poor communities the conservative way. So again, the president's talking about the economic zones, the opportunity zones, they're calling it. And of course, tax day came and went. So if you didn't file your taxes and you needed to, hope you filed for an extension. So we're talking about nearly 35 million people live in opportunity zones. So it's really good to reinvest in that area, in these areas, to bring jobs and raise the standard of living. I would hope that would be their goal. So you can take a look. There's some other issues, and of course, always about the border and talking about the crisis and what else is going on there. So these are important news releases to take a look at as well. And then, of course, one final declaration is for the state of Kentucky as well, regarding the winds and floods and landslides and things of that nature. So that's it for today, folks. This concludes. There's still sometimes news releases published up until like 9 o'clock, and I'll just add those on to the next day. In terms of the press briefs from the press statements from the, I think, April 7th to the 14th, April 7th to the 15th. Those are posted. I just didn't do a recording on them because I was unavailable, but I will be able to do that. We're going to be also doing another, hopefully this weekend, have another report for you, reporting a global report from our correspondents in Australia, in Austria, and actually in Poland this week, and then of course, here in the United States. So it'll be interesting. We're going to have pretty big perspectives on, various perspectives on what's going on right now, how different people in different places of the world are viewing the events that are happening in our world. And because we're not going to hear it on mainstream media. So tune into the GoldFish Report, folks. And look, thank you so much for contributing. But I have to tell you, GoldFish Report needs your help. Big time. So please contribute. Go to our Vimeo page, support our bullet point projects or our Country Roads library that we have published there, so that you can help support the GoldFish Report and keep us going, because we have been so banned and censored that we have lost the reach that we used to have, and we're just not getting the support, the financial support and contributions that we once received. So we really have taken a very hard hit because of the censorship, because we lost our original YouTube page. We were deleted and banned all of our blogs. We had to create new blogs, and it's sad to see that, you work this hard for so many years. GoldFish Report has been doing this, and, we reached the level of being, getting White House press privileges, for goodness sakes, and then of course we can't reach anybody. So this is sad. It's sad that this is what's happening, and I'm really hoping that the Attorney General is going to get on to doing these investigations with these big, with Facebook, with YouTube, especially YouTube. Oh, we don't have a good relationship with them at all. But it's their choice. It's not about their platform anymore. It's about how they can affect policy, how they can, you know, how they can change public opinion through their censorship platform. And same with Facebook and Twitter. So sadly, we're not getting the truth that way. But we're going to continue to do what we can. We're still on BitChute. We're still on all these platforms, but we're censored, very highly censored, and we will continue. I think we're going to be on Periscope soon as well. So, folks, we're going to do the best we can. Eventually, the stronghold that they have, the stronghold grip that they have on, alternative media has to lessen at some point. It has to loosen give up, because you know, it's destroying businesses and intellectual property and work and creative works that people are doing, just to tell the truth. And by the way, we stand in complete solidarity with Julian Assange. We do hope that he is brought to the United States, because we do hope that that process of discovery and that process of his right to a trial is going to reveal the crimes that in fact he was publishing about. So, you know, let's just hope that that's what's going to happen. I do pray that the president will pardon Julian Assange, and that is what we hope for. So, and I certainly will be vocal about that as much as possible, because he's a publisher, just like we're a publisher. And we do have freedom of the press here, and we do have to get the information out to the people, and that's our responsibility under the Constitution, and we'll continue to do that, and as long as we can. So we need our viewers to help. You can go to our website at thegoldfishreport.com. You can make a contribution there, or please go to Patreon. The Patreons do get some exclusive information that the rest of the world sometimes doesn't get at all. So I do send some exclusive videos and links there, and and sometimes for a short period of time, because they are, you know, interesting information in those links, so that I don't share with our public pages. So, and then at other times, you know, our Patreons will receive some exclusive reports that we do for two days in advance before the public does get them. So there's lots of perks to being a Patreon, and of course our gratitude to you for our Patreons who have been there all the way with us. So don't you worry, Goldfish Report's going to be a big fish. You wait and see. We're going to be such a big fish, and no one's going to see it coming. But that's okay. I like surprises, and I hope you do too. So I hope you have a great couple of days. Tomorrow's going to be big. We'll probably do a special report on the Mueller report sometime tomorrow night, or even on Friday. So folks, buckle in. It's going to be interesting, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for viewing.